Yeah, and the way that I serve my clients, that was the part that I left off. The way that I serve my clients is through mainly through one-on-one coaching because I see the value in that and walking alongside these women and helping them to get to where they want to go during those periods of life when they've been sort of spinning their wheels or when they need to get to the next level and they've plateaued in some way. So that's what I do.
Thank you so much. So I'll close this segment out by just saying I'm Karen Brown. I'm the creator of Hire to Scale Blueprint, and who I serve are women of color entrepreneurs who are looking to overcome the superwoman syndrome, where they're doing everything in their business so that they can then transition to hiring their first teams that align first with their values, then their mission, and then the ultimate goal is that they complement their strengths. And so my chapter is about helping women to figure out, are you really ready to hire? Or are there things that you need to do prerequisite? Or are you way past, like, down, you're on the road, but you should be at the stop sign? And so just helping you to figure out where you are in that particular journey and helping you to make sure that you are not hiring out of fear, that you're not hiring out of necessity, but you're really hiring people that really are in alignment with you as the leader. And so I just thank you all for joining us. And as you can see, we are all proud of our books that we have put our blood, sweat, and some of us some tears to get it to the finish line. And we wouldn't have been able to get that done. She's not on with us today, but we wouldn't have been able to do that without Chris and her direction and her guidance and her support. So we definitely want to thank her, even though she's not here with us today. So we had come up and thought of some really good questions that we would want to discuss. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer them as well. And the first question is for the authors. Can you identify a failure or a setback that became a stepping stone to one of your biggest breakthroughs? And we'll start back with Kathy, then we'll go to Coach Naima, then we'll go to Selena, then we'll go to Dr. Tanitra, then Marie.
I just saw the post from Stephanie that there were definitely tears. It's like, yeah, there were. Yeah, so I never look at anything as a failure. In the moment, it may feel like a failure for sure, uh, but I would say that ultimately it's like, okay, what can I learn from this? Because it allows me to, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail up. I'm not going to fail. And I've had a couple of setbacks for sure. One that really stands out for me is probably, I've been doing this for um, a high schooler's year, our senior year high schooler graduating from high school. I've been doing this for 18 years, so I've been doing this for a long time. And in about year 5, I had a lot of challenges with this one client. And it turned out that the person that I actually was interacting with was someone who was embezzling. That's fun to know and find out. And yeah, I know. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Anyway, so um, the owner had me come in, and this person had actually signed the contract with me, and it seemed like everything was on the up and up. And the owner came in, and he's like, "I need you to come in and take a look at everything and tell me if everything is right." And I was like, I really only came in here 3 times to clean up the books, reconcile everything, and things like that. He's like, "Well, I need you to look at all of this." And it turned out that we ended up finding another 15,000 that he didn't realize that this person had embezzled. And the hardship that came out of that is that even though I did all of that support work and helped him with that, in order for um, her to be fully convicted, they had to charge back everything that I got paid. And at the time, I was not prepared to have my bank account go to the negative. And when your bank account goes into the negative and you're really surprised, it's like, okay, I'm freaking out. What do I do? And I'm at an age where I'm like, I don't want to call mom and dad. So I ended up going and talking to my banker, who I had a relationship with at the time. And they were able to help me get through that. And I was able to also work with my other clients at the time. And they would pay me early in order for me to just, and I was, but um, coming from a place of like being completely destitute for about a month is never a place I would encourage anybody to go to, obviously. Um, it also tells you what you're made of in that moment. And since then, I've always done things that challenge me, whether it's in my personal or professional life, but I'm always doing something that's going to challenge me. And that's even writing this chapter of something that I've been talking about for, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years. It's like, I should write a book. And everybody around me is like, you should. And I'm like, yeah, I should. And then the way that this came together and how quickly and how effortless it became writing and telling stories, it was very cathartic in its own way and was such a lift. But the hardships that you go through as a beginning owner, business owner, and I think everybody hits a wall of some sort at any time. Um, you will find out in that moment whether you have the ability to take it and how you're going to come out of it. Some people, it's just too scary, and some people, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? And having that moment to just push me to where I wanted to truly be forced me to really evaluate how I did everything within my business and how getting retainers was a thing. And I hadn't done that before because I didn't have to, and all of those types of things. So, I learned a hard lesson. And I also learned you can still do the right thing, and people are not going to respect that. So you just got to keep being you, stay true to yourself, and know that what your end goal is what's important, and not worry about how everything else falls out, because something can fall out great and something can fall out terrible. But yeah, that was a big one. That was a big one pretty early on in my ownership days. I think I'm good. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I could go on and on, but it's yeah. I mean, I think about it now and I'm like, oh my god, funny story. When I tell it now, in that moment, not so funny. Not so funny. It was very anxiety ridden for sure.
That is an incredible story because it definitely shares the the important things about in starting a business, and there's a lot of things that you don't think about when you're starting out, and why it's important to be surrounded around people like you who can help people to think through those little things that can, like you said, just take their feet from right under them, if they're not really thinking about the foundation of the business. I thank you for sharing that. Coach Naima?
Okay, so I too don't like to use the word failure. So when people ask me this question, like, hey, what is the thing that you failed at? I say nothing, because I don't see failures as I see how we can be brought down, but I also think of that as a state of humility. And so anytime you're in a situation where you are humbled to the lowest of the low, it just means that now there's an opportunity for you to grow. You have to open your eyes to see it. And so some of my biggest challenges and opportunities that I've had in life are really dealing with personal life stories. And so as you read my chapter, you'll see three examples of different personal life stories that I had to overcome. And as an only girl, living in a household full of boys, and an athlete, all of these different challenges that I went through, they always say that athletes will always overcome, and I totally believe that, right? And so, like, even now, When I start seeing myself in my business having challenges, you know what I do? I turn to challenging myself when it comes to sports. And so I ended up basically, when I did the coaching program with Hello 7, I ended up toward the end of the program, like losing basically like all my clients, right? And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is great because this is an opportunity for me now to just like really totally invest in like being a coach, right? And what I learned is that what you affirm and what you listen to, what you tell yourself regularly becomes who you are. So one of the things that I had also did was I created an affirmation video. And I heard people saying, oh, nobody's going to listen to that. That really is not going to get people to your business coming into the door. And I couldn't like really listen to what they were saying. I just had to go with my gut. And one of the things that told me was that, no, this may not give me money now, but I know that it's going to help somebody in the future. And what I started doing was, as people were seeing me transition and move from what they used to see me in this box, I told myself, you know what? I don't have to be in a box. I can fly away like a butterfly, like a bird or whatever. And I can do and be whoever I want to. So what I started doing was encouraging myself to really lean into my affirmations. So for a long time, and still even now, I started to listen to my own affirmations every single day. And when I tell you that my life has now literally turned into all of those affirmations, it is literally 64 of them that I took and I turned it into, originally it's a 6-minute video, but it's also a 19-minute video that you can continue to hear it repeat itself over and over and over. But what I'm doing now is like, again, living those affirmations out in its purity. So what I tell people is like, when you see yourself failing, challenge yourself in another area. Don't challenge yourself in the area where you feel like you're not doing your best. Challenge yourself in the area where you feel like you may do your best in a better way. And so I also became a triathlete at that same time. And so what I've been doing is pushing myself to do the things that people will always say you can't do. And when I do that, it always helps me when it comes to my business. And another thing that I learned to do is to always ask for help. And so, Karen, when you start talking about the superwoman, I was like, yeah, I'm so sick of that because I gave up my cape. It had holes in it. I wasn't really flying. I was spiraling down, right, from this concept and this idea that women have to be everything to everybody. And really, what we have to be is everything to ourselves. And then once you find that you center within your own self and find that you find gratitude with who you are right now, finding gratitude with how much money you do have right now and don't have right now, you'll see that everything is always for a purpose. And you'll see that as life continues to focus forward, and you change your mindset about these things being negative situations, but actually being character buildings for yourself, you'll find that you'll always find flow and ease in your life. And so that's one of the things that I don't think of as failure, but thinking of how can I find more flow and ease in this situation? And how can I turn my mindset around and challenge myself more? So that's what I do.
So does anybody else have any other thoughts they may have about this question that they want to add to what Kathy and Coach Naima have shared? Anybody else want to add? Go for it, Marie.
Just one small thing. I'm not going to go into my whole story of failure and springboarding. But one thing that we've started doing in our house over the last year is talking about celebrating failure. And that's actually a term that we say regularly, and we're trying to get it coming from a performance-oriented household. My partner has a very hard time when we first started talking about this. Like, we're going to celebrate failure, but as an entrepreneur, I found, and a mindset coach, I found that that type of terminology of, okay, so it is failure. We can use this to build something new or to see it as an opportunity, but not shying away from something where we may fail has really changed all of our sort of our mental our perspectives of those situations and opportunities, really. So.
Thank you. Anybody, Selena, Dr. Nitra, any comments on this one? No? Okay. Yeah, okay. Go for it.
I'll make it really quick. So basically, it was a setback in my instance, and it was a very valuable lesson that I learned from it. I was entrusting someone to create a mobile app for me, and I did it on a no-code platform. And I'll take ownership because ultimately it rests with me. But what ended up happening was because I did not manage myself as well as I should have, that company was unexpectedly bought. And because my app was not yet live, I lost the opportunity and all of the work that was done to publish that app. And for a while, I did look at it as a big loss, but I did learn that it's important for me to own the digital real estate for my intellectual property. And in hindsight, I'm glad it didn't get published on that platform because it would have been very expensive to keep it there and keep it live. And so that forced me to think of it in a different context and to create it in a way that I have control over that. And so that was it turned into a stepping stone for me to do it in a way that is going to benefit me and my business more than the original strategy.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Wow. Because I know that was for you was an expensive, situation to have to work through. But I definitely appreciate how you were resilient about it, and how, like you said, you had to see what was yours to own, and then even in the situation to see how even in the long term it still would have been more expensive had you continued on that path. So definitely appreciate that. So the next question is, what mindset shifts were necessary for you to scale beyond initial setbacks and achieve success? And we'll start with Dr. Tanitra on this one.
Sure. So a big mindset shift that needed to happen. Well, okay. So here's a big mindset shift. For a long time, I was, I don't know if afraid is the right word, but I was just not into networking. And I was like, what's the point? I don't know these people. And it's like, well, that's the point, is to get to know new people. So, so that was a huge mindset shift for me, because I was definitely reluctant to go into new spaces by myself with people I didn't know and hadn't met before, and to strike up conversation. Like, that was a terrifying thing to think about doing. And at some point I realized, if we're not growing and expanding and developing our network, then it's shrinking. If you're not out meeting people, building relationships, fostering relationships, then those relationships shrink and wither away. So once I made that shift to being open and being okay with being in uncomfortable situations where I wasn't sure what I was going to say, or being afraid of, or being uncomfortable with having conversations with strangers, then I was really able to make really great contacts that led to contracts. So then once I found the right types of events to go to, the right places to go to where my people were at, then every time I went, I made a contact that led to a relationship that led to a contract. So yeah, big shift there, mental shift that paid off.
I can definitely relate to you, Dr. Demetri, with that because as an introvert, I, always talking to strangers is not for me. Um, but I had to really step back because what I saw for me, as I was trying to work through of finding my ideal clients and knowing that my purpose was that I was called to serve, and I knew who, and I had been doing it right in my small circle. But in order to grow, I had to see that I was hurting myself, but I was also hurting the people because I wasn't showing up for them. And I made the intention 5 months ago that I was going to start going out because when I was reaching out to old contacts, unfortunately, um, a lot of my contacts died due to COVID. And so for me, it was like, man, people that, you could just call and talk to, they just weren't there anymore. So for me, I felt like it was what I needed at that time because it meant for me that I had to get outside of myself and I really had to get out there. And so I made a commitment that I had to go to at least three events a month, minimum 3, to be able to get out and to talk. And even though it started off to me, I felt it was awkward. The people that I connected with totally didn't see it that way. But for me, in my head, right, that mindset, it was awkward. And then I ended up taking a class, and it was one of the best things. It was like, well, why don't you just start questions? What are things you want to know about people? And so I had a list of questions and different things, which really benefit me in the long run because it helped me to be able to with that intention was I was going to serve whoever I was talking to. Either they were going to be somebody who was going to be an ideal client, or it was somebody who just needed support. And whatever that was, if I knew somebody or I knew something, I was going to be able to serve them in that way. um, and so it has helped me now. I don't even it doesn't even bother me anymore. It's like, okay, so where am I going next month? Like, who am I going to see? Who am I going to talk to? And so again, it is so important,
Do
I
you
think, that
do you
we
still
get
have
out there
do
and
you
that we
still
talk.
have your list of questions that you could go out with too?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right. I
Yeah.
was just like me, I'm nosy, so I'm going to ask 100 questions. So
Yeah.
I was just like, what you're talking about, I would say I'm introverted when I get home. Like I need rest to rejuvenate.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
I'm out, I'm not, I would
Mhm.
say introverted.
Mhm.
I just want to have a conversation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so it's just interesting how, as an introverted person or people, like how much intention and preparation you have to do.
Mhm.
And I think, isn't that part of like maintaining your energy as well?
It
As
does. That totally, it does for me. It does help me to, because I can tell you as the months have gone on, I don't need as much downtime after events to be able to re-energize myself. Um, and to give a great example, yesterday I went to an event and one of the leaders at an agency that I wanted to work with was there. And so I got the opportunity to have a very meaningful conversation. And so again, already have things set up to get everything that he asked me for so that we can initially start the conversations about doing some training for that particular agency. And then I went to another event with another H7 coach, and we ended up meeting somebody, and we were both like, oh, we would love to, train and teach. But she had, shared she was going to be out for a bit, but she's back this upcoming week. So making sure that, my email's at the top of her email list. just trying to make sure, because I know she's going to have a lot, but just trying to make sure that I get to the top of it. And like I said, it's just really now being clear about wanting to make sure that I'm really getting to know the people that I'm talking to. And it's been a blast. It's just, for me, it's been a 180. Anybody else have any other thoughts?
Well, I'm still alive, so I'll jump. I'm the tortoise. I'm never going to be the hare. I'm never going to be that person who's like, I can just do it at 7,500 miles an hour and I'm going to get it all done. Nope, that's not who I am. And what I've found is professionally, when I'm working on projects and I have multiple things going on, doing and focusing on one thing at a time, and distractions will come, that's great, but maintaining that focus and coming to completion actually speeds up your time better. And as a business owner and as somebody who ultimately, I feel like we'll all have teams and that kind of thing. I have a small team. Time is the one commodity that everybody has the same amount of. And so leveraging that time in a way that makes you more efficient and better and able to stay within like your zone of excellence and genius, that is the place that I feel most business owners really super succeed. And they just know, how do I lift other people up so I can get my time to focus on what I need to focus on. And I think my personal method is slow and steady is going to win the race for me. And that way I'm not constantly downshifting into different things and where was I and what's going on. Oh yeah, I did that. And, having 100 post-it notes everywhere as reminders and things like that. It's more of, nope, I got my list and that's it, check, check, check. So I would strongly recommend most people to at least list it out and choose. And surprisingly, the book that helped me with that was The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. I mean, that's old school, truly, but it's also, you pick your top 3 things that you need to get done today and let the rest of it fill in. And it's fascinating. The more you focus that way, the better you are to be able to siphon out what's the most important things to work on as well.
That is definitely great advice and wisdom. Definitely great advice and wisdom. Anyone else have anything they want to add? Or I can go ahead and jump to the next question. So the next question is, how has breaking barriers in your career impacted your personal life and relationships?
Me.
Go for it.
Let me tell you about these barriers that I'm breaking. First of all, everybody knows that, of course, I'm a Muslim woman. And so I am breaking so many barriers right now. When you make statements about being a millionaire, and when you make statements about making money and serving your people and things like that, for some people in some cultures and religions, that is kind of like, what you talking about? Right? And you know that you're doing the right thing when you start shaking up the leadership, right? And so let me just tell you, I've shook up some leadership, right? And also, I can tell that it's making people think twice because now men are saying it. Even though my audience is for women, now men are saying it, right? And whenever I go to my place of worship and whenever I'm around people, now people started calling me Coach Naima. So the barriers that I'm breaking is that although we know that these stories have happened in the history of like our religion, I think that it looks different when it starts to show up different now, right? And when you are consistent about something and people know that you will not back down. And when we started talking about earlier about values, and when you don't back down on your values and when you know who you are, people cannot deny that. And so I'm just happy that even though people say, right now I can't do that, that's okay. Because I know I literally got one voice note today from a young lady in our community talking about, I need you. And I know that I'm breaking barriers because she's like, I need you because I'm experiencing this. And every time I hear you speak, you resonate with me from a long time ago. Right. And so now she's like, I need you now because now I can focus on something because you can help me to focus. And so you just have to be consistent, break the barriers, break the stereotypes, right? Because there's so many stereotypes that people want to, again, like I talked about earlier, put you in boxes. And we don't want to live in boxes. We want to live in whatever area that we want to be in at the time. And one thing that I also want to continue to encourage women is that we are ever changing. Women's lives are ever changing, meaning every single day, every single decade, we are experiencing things that no one else in the world is experiencing. And so when we talk about wanting it all, yes, you can have it all. And you can have it all in phases. You can have it all when you plan it out, when you start to say, you know what? The barriers that I want to break are these specific things. Because when you think of a barrier, it's actually a level up. It's not something that's holding you back. It's leveling you up. And so what I was telling people recently is that women are no longer okay with just the basics in Maslow's law. Women have evolved so much that we have to now be reached on a higher level and a higher plane, even to get women's attention. And so as we are leveling up and those barriers are being broken, we have to understand that we have to have some game-changing actions, honey. Okay? So I'm encouraging everybody to go out and get the book and to actually put this into practice. If you know that there are 19 authors of this book, you have 19 months to change your life, meaning that read a chapter and do what they're asking you to do at the end of the chapter. You want to see your life change? Game-changing actions, right? And so I have to always encourage people, when you change as a woman, everything around you changes. You don't have to start trying to change other people. When people see you elevate, everything around you elevates. And so what I want to tell people is, let's continue to break the barriers, change our actions, and then guess what? You'll have some confessions to make too, right? Okay, so that's my 2 cents.
Yes. I know, Marie, you got something you want to say. Go for it.
Woo! I'm over here having a spell. I've gone to church. I'm like, yes. One of my favorite things, about this whole journey. Okay, it has not been easy. That I will say. First of all, there's a reason why people quit when they start a new business. There's a reason why women are so marginalized in this area and why so few women are able to make even more than $4,000 a month on average. Like they're 70% of women business owners are making less than that on average. It's insane. And so, yes, there are barriers that at the shift, from where I was and the barriers I've broken through to get to where I am now. The biggest area where I've seen, other than mindset, inside of me, has been my circle of friends. Really, the people who are there to support you and who have supported me. And part of the reason why I am where I am is because of, and I'm not talking about cancel culture, I'm talking about the people I share my dreams with who have created space for me to bloom into who I truly feel like I've been created to be. Um, it's makes such a huge difference when you have people who are like what Naima was said, the barriers that you have that are out there that are lifting you up. These are people who are also lifting me up and they're there with me. Um, One of my favorite quotes, and I need to put it on t-shirts and mugs, is just to be careful about who you share your dreams with. because the people who have buried their own dreams are more than happy to lend you a shovel. And so you got to be careful about who you're out there talking to about, oh, I'm so excited because I'm going to become a millionaire, especially for those of us who have been raised in faith. And for me as a Christian, hanging around with a lot of the folks that I've used to hang out with at church, it's like, you're a woman who's a business owner. Well, who do you have, or who are you serving, or how are you doing that? And let me tell you and explain to you how you should be doing these types of things as opposed to my calling and what I feel like where God is leading me. Um, it's really nuts to see where I was and where I am now. And the only way that that has happened is because of choosing who I who I've allowed to speak life into me. And so that's been huge. Creating a community and finding your squad, finding your people is hugely important.
Can we get everybody on here to say amen? Because there's a lot of preaching going on right now.
Amen.
Right?
Yes, true gems shared. Was there something you wanted to share, Selena?
Yes. Wow. For me, breaking barriers, what's been phenomenal about it in my personal life is who I become each time I push through a barrier. And that has become more of a pull for me than the reward of breaking the barrier. Whatever the income target is, whatever the achievement I was pursuing, pushing through that, I can see me changing ever more. And that is so encouraging because we want to become our highest and best version of ourselves. And that's a reason to take action. That's a reason to be able to make the confession as a business owner of where you are, what you want, unapologetically saying what you want. I totally concur with my sisters who talked about who gets to be privy to that, because that's really critical. But who I become in the process is simply fascinating, fascinating. And I think, if for no other reason, I think women should challenge themselves to go into business because it will show you what you're made of. And I promise you, you're capable of 90 to 100% more than you think you are. You absolutely can you can double up on whatever your capacity is. It's in you to do it. And so this book has so many gems in it from coaches in all different lanes of business. And so I agree with Coach Naima. This could be a study in personal development and business success because we're walking it. We're walking it out every day.
That was poetically stated because it is a true way of us really putting ourselves, because again, all of us have shared very vulnerable things about ourselves in this book, and really wanting to help as many women as possible to not make the same mistakes that we did. And in some of them, they weren't even mistakes. Some things were traumatic things that happened to us. But at the same time, we were resilient. We didn't give up. We stayed the course. We really went after what it is that we definitely felt compelled and called to do. And so I think we were all unwavering in what our pursuit for one ourselves. And this leads into the next question, which is, what legacy do you hope to leave for other women following in your footsteps? And how do you work towards that goal? And I'll just simply share first that for me, it is always important as I walk forward that I'm reaching back to bring somebody else with me. Because somebody did that for me when I started out my career. Somebody opened a door for me so that I could walk through. And I should be just as grateful to open the door for the person who's coming behind me, to be able to uplift them, to be able to share my stories, to be able to help them so that they can grow. And that if it means them navigating around the minefield so that they don't have to go through what I went through, I'm all for it. I'm all for shoring up and giving what I can to help the next person. In these times, it is so important that we teach young girls and young women how to be entrepreneurs. It is more important now than ever because they need to know that they are worthy, that they deserve it, and that they can do it. And so if it means us going back to pull them in to get there, then that's what we should be doing. And for those that are listening us, this is a call for you too. You must pull people forward. We can't leave people behind. And again, saying again, just as everyone else said, this book gives so many resources up front for women to be able to get what they need in order to bring people forward. And so whoever wants to jump in next, go for it.
Just real quick, the vision that I have came from a person that I was coaching a long time ago, and then I saw the vision again when I was coaching Stephanie Julia when she and I were talking once. But now with this book, even more clearly, is walking. Imagine, like if you're walking forward in a completely still body of water and how there's ripples behind you and you're going ahead, but you're creating a wake. You're creating and you're changing the environment for everybody who's around you. And part of the reason why I was so excited to be part of this movement with CEO Confessions was because, or CEO Chronicles, was because of locking arms with all of y'all as we are walking forward, as we are making a difference. That's the legacy that I'm hoping. This is under $10, I think, or it's like $15 if you buy the paperback and under 10 if you buy the Kindle. And it's you there's so much in here to help you. And every single chapter has practical steps. Even if you're not a business owner, it's a great book to get in skimming through and applying these things. And you can walk behind us. We've gone ahead to make it easier for you. And we're holding the doors open for you. So that's what we're doing.
I would just like to say, if I had such a book in hand when I started my journey, I really don't know where I would be now, because I did spend a lot of time stuck. I did spend a lot of time not understanding the power of a community or a tribe. I had no I had no leadership. I was the only entrepreneur in all the spaces that I was in my personal space, in my church space, in my workspace. And I just didn't have a freaking clue. But I had prayer. And I said, there are people out here successfully running businesses. Lord, Show me how, show me the way, help me to step into the flow. I see the currency, I see it moving, but I'm outside of it. And that prayer was absolutely answered. And so for me, the legacy that I want to leave is modeling the courage to do what's in my heart, my way, not imitating anybody else's model, my way, because there's only, I'll say this, there's only one you. And what it, and your goal might be similar to someone else's goal, but no one can do it like you do it if you stay in your authenticity. And when you do that, there is your lane. You don't have to, truly, you don't have to worry about competitors because you're one of one. And that's how we're made, our DNA. We're one of one. And so in business, embrace being one of one. And you're going to make, you're going to set, as she said, a wake for other people to know that they can do it too, their way. So that is the legacy I hope to leave. No, that's the legacy I'm working on leaving. That's the space I'm in. So
Okay, I'll go next. So for me, legacy, I love acronyms. So for me, legacy is let everyone get a case of you. And so what I want to leave behind is a case of Naima Abdullah, right? And so when I start thinking about legacy, everything is about, for me, faith, family, and funds. So faith, seeing that women of faith can, it's spiritual. Building wealth is spiritual, right? And I really want to make sure that women understand that they say money is the root of all evil, but how you use money can be extremely spiritual. And I know that women will always give to causes that are deeply, deeply passionate for them. And so when we start thinking about how can we build legacy, you can only build legacy when you can fund legacy. And so for me, and so thinking about how is my family going to be able to sustain themselves better than the last 10, 15, 20, 30 generations, like thousands of years ago. I want to make sure that every single thing that I do, someone is going to remember me in 1,000 years. Someone's going to remember me in 10,000 years. So making sure that every single effort that I put forth is going to be something memorable, and it's also going to help someone along the way. So what we would call is making sure that I'm always leaving a blessing that is going to continue to give me blessings and bless the person that receives that blessing. Start talking about the funds part. The funds is so essential. We keep talking about who wants to be a millionaire. $1 million is not a lot of money. And so we have to get out of this mindset thinking that we're so wealthy when it comes to only having $1 million. No, we really need to think about wealth. And what wealth does, it affords you things that when it comes to politics, it affords you things when it comes to lifestyle. It affords you things when it comes to health care. It affords you things when it comes to even your own mindset. So we have to stop thinking of money as a tool to only buy things. Money can be, again, a tool that can afford you everything that you want in your future. So as I'm trying to build legacy, I'm thinking of how can my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren have a healthier lifestyle? And something as simple as studies have shown that people who make over $75,000 don't worry about the basics. They're not as stressed. They're not as sick. They're not as mentally challenged. And so we have to really be able to make more money so we can get out of this socioeconomic disparity that we have in America, and especially amongst women, because there right now are so many women living in their cars with their children. I don't know if you all heard that. There are women living in their cars with their children, and oftentimes they can't do the necessary steps because they didn't have a book like this. It's no action. They didn't know what action they can take. This book can literally save someone's life. So what I'm encouraging everybody to do before we leave here today is purchase the book. If you don't want to use it for yourself, purchase it for someone else that needs a leg up in the world. And so the legacy, again, that I'm leaving behind and forward is faith, family, funds. Go ahead and let everybody get a case of Naima. Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Be still my bookkeeping and accounting heart, by the way. I don't know, Dr. Tadisha, were you gonna go? No? Yes? Okay. I just kind of wanted to, two things. Legacy to me is about ancestry and how we carry it forward, similar to what several of y'all have said today. And I think of it as akin to I'm the cool auntie, right? Like I don't have any kids, I'm good, but just got rated #1 a couple weeks ago by the nieces and nephews, so winning all the things. But what's interesting is that the conversations that we have are so different from the conversations that I had with my elders because I'm one of the few in the family who, and I come from a family of 10 kids, so I'm one of 3 of us kids that actually started our own businesses. I think I'm the only one who's had it this long. And my role within my family is not only showing that there's more out there than what the capacity that my elders could teach us, but also breaking some of those generational curses, also breaking the barrier of like I'm, I may not be at the space where I thought I would be at this stage in my life. And at the same token, I don't think I could ever work for somebody again because I've done so much to go from working at a traditional job and then got laid off and was like, I've always wanted to start my own business, so let's just do it. And that was it. That was the decision, and took the leap of faith, and I'm still here 18 years later. And so when it comes to legacy, it's always about not only taking the knowledge and the beauty of what the past presents us, but then also modernizing it in a way that we can give it forth to other people. And I love that, Naomi, you're like, I'm 10,000 years from now, people are going to know who I am. I was like, all right, let's dance. Let's do this. Right. So I truly, truly love that. And I I am going to be starting a podcast about talking about wealth and legacy, which is like, this just came up perfectly. So I'm so excited. And as far as the book, I haven't done my unpackaging of my book. That's why I'm not holding it up. And the best present you could give me for my birthday, which is tomorrow, is to buy the book that everybody is so conveniently holding up. But I would love that. I would love that. And my legacy within my business has truly been around every entrepreneur knows more than they think they know. They probably just vomit a little bit in their mouth when they talk about finances and bookkeeping and stuff. And so my business now is going to be offering a membership, like a $35 a month membership, to help you get that confidence. And it'll include, thank you, it'll include the software as well. So that way we can see people elevate themselves. And as a legacy, I can teach people how to do it the right way the first time, as opposed to, everybody trying to do it all on their own. Don't make your life difficult when you don't have to. And that would be part of my legacy. And everybody knows how to do this stuff. We all, at one point in our lives, learned how to add 1 + 1 to get to 2. So you're a lot smarter than you think. And that's the legacy I want to leave for those business owners who are intimidated or just reticent about doing anything regarding numbers and all that kind of stuff. I just think that it's just a confidence thing, and it's not really knowledge. So I want to encourage people to sit down and, what is your legacy going to be? What is your legacy right now? And what do you want to have your legacy be later? Because there's nothing that says that you can't continue to build the legacy. It doesn't stop at a certain age. It doesn't stop at a certain number. It doesn't stop anywhere. And the only thing that stops is you, and you are your best legacy. That's all. I'm looking at everybody's posts, and I'm like, yeah, buy the book for the winter break. Buy it for my birthday. Buy it for the holidays. Just buy the book.
Buy it for your friends. Buy it for your cousins. Buy it for your nieces and nephews, and you could be the number one auntie.
I mean, like me, yes.
Like you. We all strive to be like Kathy.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. No, you don't. It's okay.
Yeah, I just put the link in the post, so hopefully everybody can grab it and go ahead and get their copy. And again, happy early birthday.
I'm excited. Well,
Yeah.
So this year, this is a big one. It's 55, and fives are like a change number. So this is the year of change and evolution for me. So I don't know what change or evolution it's going to be, but it's going to be fun because I try to do hard things. So who knows? I've been talking about rappelling. If anybody has any experience with that, I've been thinking about that. Anybody on the call have any experience with that? I mean, Coach Naima, I think you would have, as a sports person, you might have some knowledge.
So you said propelling?
No, rappelling, like rappelling down.
Oh, like down. Okay, so let me just tell you, I'm afraid of heights, but I've zip lined and all that stuff.
Okay.
I definitely, so never look down.
Make sure it's secure.
Never look down, and make sure you understand your footing.
Okay.
Footing is everything when it comes to heights. And I think that that's what people really don't realize. Like, if your footing is straight, you're good. But if your footing is off, that's when it's going to be a real problem. But I'm so excited for you because 55 is a very, very spiritual number. And it actually represents elevation. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen for you this year.
I'm embracing it all. I'm so excited.
That. So I know on our last event, we talked about creating a community, and we definitely want to give you just an update that we're still working on that. And we'll definitely be getting back to everyone about that and how we can come together and really support one another. And so we're going to say, keep looking out for that. And that'll be coming out relatively soon. So definitely be patient with us as we continue to make sure that we are doing things that really support you. And then the other is to let you know that for November, we're going to be doing another LinkedIn Live talking about money and strategy. And then our great sisters are going to come together in December, and we're going to talk about mindset and leadership, which will definitely be the point of getting people through when you're starting out the new year. If there's strategy, anything that you need to be considering or thinking about, and even with on the point of money, again, November, December are times to be able to tune in with us, join the conversation, so you can get any of the nuggets you need to be able to help you to get yourself ready. Because if you're considering starting a business, this is a great idea to join so that you can get what you need to start off. And if there's any kind of challenges or anything that you're working through from mindset, you're going to get to be able to do that. And again, we're just here, just really wanting to encourage others to really to know that we are here and that we really do want to support you and to help you to reach your desired dreams, right? And if there are goals, same thing, we're here to support you. And I think the last thing I'll share is the one thing that I'm going to be doing, and I'm putting it together. So starting next month through January, it has been on my heart that to support people during the holidays and to be able to give them encouragement, because I know that the holidays can be hard for people that have lost loved ones. It's hard for those who may suffer with depression and anxiety. But I just want to be able to show up, and I'll be showing up on a weekly basis just to be able to give encouragement, to help people to get through this time, because I know for me it is a challenging time, because I've lost all of my siblings, I've lost one of my parents, and so it is a very hard time. So I definitely understand how you can feel like there's those lonely times, there's those sad times that come up, but wanting to give you that hope and strength to get through this time. So know that that'll be coming up as well. Any other exciting things anybody else on the panel has going on from my fellow authors this over November, December that you would like to share?
I have some exciting things going on, always. But in December, I do have here in Atlanta, if you're interested in joining the Millionaire Lifestyle Retreat, I do have that coming up December 13th, 14th, and 15th. And that specific retreat is really about number one, are you feeling burnt out? Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling like, what's my next move with my business? So, for all of those women who are looking to reset, so this is a big, big reset. So, this is really about re-energizing yourself with your business, finding your passion again, again, dealing with your saboteurs. We're going to talk about mindset, and then really, really laying out in a super, super juicy way how your 2025 year is going to go for your business. And this is also an opportunity to rest and relax and to meditate and to think about nothing, right? So we'll have people there that are going to be cooking for us and things like that. But again, you can find all of that information on my website, LadyKhadijahInstitute.com. You can click on that and click on the Millionaire Lifestyle Retreat. And it's specifically at a mansion because we want to elevate your mindset, right? And studies have shown that, of course, when you're in an environment that is luxurious, then of course you can think luxuriously, right? And so, of course, we have the CEO Chronicles. Of course, I am thinking, I'm working actually on a cruise for this. So if you're interested in going on a cruise, specifically where you can read the book, and we have a couple of downtime where we can eat together and talk about the book, reach out to me for that as well. You can reach out to me on all social media handles, but I'm looking in 2025 having a cruise. And then also on any of my social media channels, you can reach out to me because I have several trips that I'm generating for 2025, business retreats as well as individual luxury retreats. So that's what I have going on.
So you're not busy at all? Is that what I love it. All right, go, Selena. I couldn't resist.
Well, I am happy to be working on my birthday. I decided that I would host a virtual $1,000,000 action workshop on November 23rd, which is my birthday. And so thank you for holding that up, Maria. So basically, I am an approved coach to host this 4-hour workshop. I think it's a perfect exercise leading into the new year to get your mind right, to get clear on the kinds of actions that you want to take to realize your goals and start building wealth. So yay for $1,000,000 action. I'm hosting that virtually on November 23rd. So you can link with me at publishforprofits.com. It's publish the number 4 profit.com. And just hit me up there or on my socials, Selena Teams. I'd be happy to connect with you, and even just talk about anything that might have come up for you around this conversation and around CEO Chronicles.
I'm also hosting a $1 Million Action Workshop, but mine is going to be in person at the beautiful Rose Hill Community Center in Mukilteo, Washington. So we have a big window with a view of the water, and we'll be meeting there. Exactly what Naima was saying, Coach Naima was talking about being in those places where you can experience that and feel that expansion. That's one of our goals. And the workshop is a fantastic investment in you. So if you would like to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Marie Barrington Armitage, or easejoycoach.com, or wherever you're watching this, just tag me and we'll connect. I'll put my email address, just like Publish for Profit for Selena. I'll put mine in the comments. Thank you, guys. It's exciting.
So Kathy and Dr. Janitra.
Do you want to go? Do you have it?
No, but since I'm talking, I might as well. Great question. I am right now. I'm super focused on supporting my organizations. So I don't have unless you just really want to reach out to me, you definitely can. You can hit me up in the comments here if you want to connect on mental fitness or connect on building out your business. Or if you want to connect on B2B, business to business conversations, definitely reach out. But I'm definitely focused on supporting my organizations as they move their missions forward.
Great.
Now I'll go, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of glossed over it, but two things. The first thing I want to tell everybody is, yay, tax season was over on the 15th. It is now the new tax season. So yay, get ready now. For my new business owners, and I do say this obviously jokingly, but there are a lot of people out there who do have this. We are creating, it's a Xero membership. We're not using QuickBooks. We're going to be adding Xero into the mix of accounting software that we support. And between now and the end of the year, when you sign up for the membership, it is $35 a month, and it includes your subscription to Xero. And essentially, it is going to be it'll be 3 different days a week or 3 different days a month that we have planned within the membership to teach you how to use the software, do Q&A, and then if people are willing to do it, get into more like the CFO type of work that I do with people and review their books in a way that somebody with the amount of knowledge that I have can help you analyze and also look at like, oh, how am I going to plan this? So this would be really good, not only for people who, like I said, when they think about that type of financial detail, but then also for people who are starting businesses, this is a great way to get yourself set up and ready to go as soon as you get into the new year. And it's actually a pretty simple process. So that's something that I'm really excited about because it, just feeds my heart that I get to help people do something that they have to do for their business. And yeah, I'm not yet there doing what Selena and Marie are doing with the $1 million workshop. But I'm excited to see how you guys do because it's going to be awesome. I've seen it like an abridged version. It's really good. So if you get the opportunity, definitely go and be a part of one of them.
Thank you, everyone. So if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn at The Real K Brown, or you can schedule a VIP day with me at hiretoscale.com. Hire, it's TO scale.com. And so, again, I thank everybody who joined and listened in, from Facebook, from YouTube to LinkedIn. We thank you so much for joining us and hearing about our nuggets that we wanted to share with you today. And again, we look forward to you joining us next month. And the information for the next LinkedIn Live will be up by mid next week. So everybody is aware of it. And the date is the second, right? The second Sunday, right? The 17th, I believe, is the date that we have selected for the month of November. But again, hope you guys can join us. So again, have a good night and thank each of you for joining us.